Look up if Chug Water is an actual place. Joe Biden. So they had like just started construction for the summer, and then the entire building burns down. So you're just like ATF Oklahoma gay nightclub. Can you believe that Steve Jobs died of Ligma? In equal parts to appear here and to teach you how to not kill people. What, like a skinwalker, or you can shapeshift or something? What kind of animal are you?
My spirit animal is a male anglerfish. At least that's what I tell people. It is hot.
I see. Aren't the males the smaller ones?
Yeah. The ones that just suction to a female and then absorb into her and pass away. Their entire purpose is just to inseminate a woman.
And you identify very strongly with that?
I relate very strongly.
I see.
What other purpose do I serve, bro? Other than Jesus Christ and his purpose for me. Brad likes that.
Brad approves.
Brad approves. Cool, dude. All right, so you're a political science major.
Yes.
What do you think about the recent Trump v. Kamala debate?
I'm going to be honest. I haven't had much spare time to watch it in full. I've seen bits and pieces of it, including the part where Trump goes off and about immigrants in Ohio eating people's cats and dogs.
Yeah.
So I've seen that bit and like a few assorted clips from it. I feel like there's definitely a noticeable difference between modern presidential debates and like debates of the last century, even as recent as 2008. They were a lot more civil and policy oriented. Like if you watch the Kennedy-Nixon debate in 1960, they just take turns like listing out their policy preferences, not insulting, and in fact like being nice to each other. Mm-hmm. Like Nixon will say like, "Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with Kennedy's point of view. We both agree that this is in fact a problem. We just differ on the solutions we have for it." Whereas nowadays they're just like screaming at each other, intentionally avoiding making any policy statements. Like Harris was dodging questions most of the time from what I heard in the very limited bit that I saw. So there's definitely been a shift away from civility all throughout politics, as it were.
I mean, looking back, it's kind of like, I don't know, with the intro of Trump, 2016, that was fun. That was like the first time I probably actually started to pay attention to politics at all. And it's just all of a sudden he was up there calling people's wives dogs and stuff. And it was it's funny. It's funny, dude. At least that's quoting Shane Gillis, at least. Yeah. So funny, dude. Have you heard of Shane Gillis?
No, I can't say I have.
No way, dude. He's like the best comedian ever, pretty much. He's at least my favorite. He was my favorite before it was cool.
You're his crowd.
I see.
I'm his crowd.
Yeah, you're random.
Brad knows, dude. I am his crowd. Except I'm not a conservative in denial. Where he is, for sure.
Closeted conservative.
Closeted conservative. That's what Shane Gillis is. And he says it himself. Anyways, yeah, he's a comedian.
Okay. Sure.
But yeah, the political debates, as soon as Trump got in, it was the funniest thing. I got into politics because of how hilarious it was. Then he won the election, and it was like, no way. This is sick. I don't know. How much of politics do you think is fake?
That's difficult to gauge. I'm not part of the political elite in any way, so I can only speak as an outside observer. But there's definitely a general vibe that no matter how much they bicker or argue while they're sitting in front of a camera on stage or making call-outs on X, because it's not Twitter anymore, some of them probably still do get along behind the scenes, behind closed doors. There's definitely, I feel like the divide between the elites and the regular people, the haves and have-nots, is definitely more of a stark divide than, conservative or liberal, right or left or whatever have you.
Conspiracy theory wise, do you think red versus blue is an illusion, or do you think it's real?
There's definitely some element of reality to it. Like, for the voters, the people who just go about living their lives, it's definitely real. Like, someone who ascribes to, like, the red side, and someone who ascribes to the blue side, but otherwise they're just regular people. To them, it's definitely real. But to the people at the top, I imagine it gets a bit more muddled, because there's only so far in one direction you can go policy-wise before things start getting ridiculous. So for the people who are actually sitting in office and making the decisions, it's probably just a lot more for show than we give it credit for.
You're saying a lot of things, and I feel like I'm just not smart enough to understand most of it.
I'm speaking a lot. I'm saying basically nothing. I may be a poli-sci major who studied some of this to some extent, but I wouldn't call myself an expert, so don't take anything I say as fact or gospel or whatever. It's just my...
It's your major, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to learn in the political science? Because it's not necessarily then just politics.
I mean, there's a bunch of different sides to it. There's like the American domestic side and the international relations side. I've studied a bit of both. But most of what I've learned isn't like how like the political system operates yet. I'm currently...
Sorry, I'm crazy.
Crazy? Anyway, I have not taken a class on American Congress. I'm like 2 or 3 weeks into a course on how the presidency works, but most of it, what I have studied is either like how to apply statistics to like research about politics or like international relations, and then a couple classes I took were on constitutional law and civil rights and whatnot.
So, if it's all about statistics, what do you do for a job then?
I'll figure that out.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There's domains that I can go on to. Like, I can do, like, consulting. I can go on to law school, be an attorney, or I can just latch on to a candidate that I take an interest in and just volunteer assistance there.
Well, you said it like past tense. Like you studied. You're not still studying?
I'm still studying, but studied as in I've taken classes on this.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. I don't really know what to ask about it, honestly. What do you think is cool? Like, what stands out? Like, why do you like it? Do you like it? Or are you just doing it?
Political science?
Yeah.
I feel like I was interested in it because it's so fundamental to how, like, the most impactful decisions are made. Because, like, everything that has the potential to change the world is decided by some political entity or another, whether that's a legislative body or an executive of some country or an international organization.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, like, what goes on behind all of these decisions. What are, like, the motives, the methods, like, how do they decide what needs to get done, and how do they make it happen?
Yeah. That's how I'm interested in that, but just with people rather than the bigger, but like, I don't know, do you think there's parallels between there probably are. That's cool.
Parallels between what?
Like a person and a nation as a whole.
Sure, there's
Like how they function, especially between each other.
Yeah, a lot of the like psychological theories behind patterns of behavior are very similar or exactly the same as the patterns of behavior for nation states and world leaders. So there's like the rational decision making theory where individuals or world leaders, depending on what you're studying, will like weigh costs and benefits of certain decisions and pick the option that benefits them the most.
Yeah. Okay. Crazy thought. I know I keep steering this in different directions, but it's because I don't know how to comment on what you're saying. I just don't feel like I'm well versed enough in political. Like, can you teach me?
No.
Like, if I ask you what legislature is, can you like give me a rundown of what that means?
I can give you a dictionary definition.
A dictionary definition. Give
like,
me a fun definition.
It's all the it's the legislature is the bozos who make the laws.
Okay, cool. Rad.
Never learned government and
No, dude.
nice.
Shout out to Mr. Mendy. So cool. Bro's retired now. He did not care. Like, I learned nothing. I know there's like a judicial branch.
Yeah. Do you know the third one?
Executioner branch. I don't think that's right.
You're close.
I don't know. Tell me what's up.
Executive. You were
Executive.
very
That's
close.
it. Yeah, not quite. Execution. Yeah.
The executioner branch. The people.
Definitely an executioner.
Oh, yeah.
Amen. Did you know that? Did you know you're a political guy? There was some like second grader or 11th grader, one of the two, that made, it was probably an 11-year-old. So I don't know how old, whatever. She had some project where she tracked back the lineage of all the U.S. presidents, and every single one of them, including Barack Obama, are related to some English king.
Yeah, I did hear
except
about
for Trump.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, for me, conspiracy theory wise, one world cabal, bro. It's all within the same family. It's all planned out. How are they all related?
There is such a thing as political dynasties. Like you've heard of the Kennedys, the Roosevelts, the Clintons.
Yeah, but they're
Bushes.
all related, though. Like JFK would also be in that bunch of related back to the English king or whatever.
It also has to do with if you go far enough back, eventually everybody has a common ancestor. Like how millions upon millions of people are blood descendants of Genghis Khan.
So true.
So I don't know too much about this one particular English king, but
I guess more research would have to be done.
yeah.
Pull it up, John.
Whip it out.
Fact check me on that.
Presidents.
Yeah, there we go. I just need to, because I can contribute in the conversation if I like bring it back down to my level, which is way lower than where you're at.
Sure.
Yeah, so I apologize for my ignorance and my inability to comprehend.
I accept your apology.
Okay, cool. Yeah, rad. Yay! Yippee! Yippee! Like how?
John Lackland
Plantagenet?
Yeah, King of England in 1199 to 1216.
Mm-hmm.
So for 17 years, he was king.
17 years?
Just pumped out presidents for years.
Crazy, dude.
Every single president is all presidents that ever will exist have already been born.
I wonder if
They're like
Kamala is
900
related.
years old.
Lizard people, bro. They're real.
Looks 900, guys. Come on.
Lizard people, bro. Look into it.
Jimmy Carter's less than a month away from turning 100. I guess by the time this finally goes out, it will have already passed that time, and he'll either be 100 years old or he'll be dead. But if he lives to 100, then my professor has promised that she's going to bring desserts in and throw us a party to celebrate Jimmy Carter's 100th birthday.
That's so awesome. Was Jimmy Carter a good president according to
October 1st.
I mean,
political sciences? Because I live in Idaho, and Idaho Idahoans tend to say he's the worst one ever. I know nothing about him, though.
He was not a very effective president. He's a very kind man. Like, post-presidency, he spent a lot of his time, like, building houses for people and being, like, a philanthropist and just all-around great guy. But as president, it was a combination of he inherited a lot of unlucky situations, and his character just wasn't, slimy enough to be a successful president.
Situations?
There was, let's see, this is like 70s. So there was the Iranian hostage crisis that he was like negotiating for a while, and he was like, his administration was about to reach a resolution on it, and then he got voted out, and then Reagan took office.
Crazy.
And the problem was solved immediately, and he took all the credit for it.
Let's go, dude. Shout out to Reagan.
There was
Amen.
also
Bring it back.
an economic recession and rising gas prices related to turmoil in the Middle East. That just kind of happened while he was the president. So
Rough, dude. Well, I mean, like, as a president, can you not just, like, silence the Middle East and be like, you're going to give us oil?
well, you can.
Because, like, Trump went over there and there was, like, peace in the Middle East for the first time in ever.
Theoretically, that is something that the president can do, but Jimmy Carter was too nice to do that, I
Dang,
think.
dude. Okay, yeah. So he's a simp.
Crazy. Jimmy Carter. I stopped listening. I looked up Ronnie Reagan.
Ronnie Reagan.
I don't know. What's, like, your least...
He died
What do you
in
think is...
2004.
I'm going to fire you, bro.
Oh, damn.
Anyways, just kidding. I don't know. What's, like, the worst president? I'm going to make...
A lot of people say it was James Buchanan, who was the president. I'm just guessing from the look on your face that you don't know who that is.
I've heard the name.
So
I used to know most of the presidents.
He was the president like right before the Civil War, and I mean like right before. And his administration just did nothing to prevent the upcoming crisis.
Let's go, dude.
There were just like tensions at an all-time high between the free states and the slave states. And then Lincoln takes office, and then the Civil War kicks off.
I mean, objectively then, he kind of seems like maybe not the best guy to be in office during such a... Maybe he caused the tension even? Yeah, like objectively then he would be the worst.
There was also, during this time, I believe, a little event called the Pig War. So you know those islands in... was it Puget Sound in Washington?
No idea.
So there's
No
like
idea.
some islands between like Washington and
I'm looking it up.
yeah.
It was 1859 between the United States and the UK. It was over a British-U.S. border in the San Juan Islands between Vancouver Island, which is present-day Canada, and the Washington Territory, which is Washington now.
Yeah, so Canada, that is to say the British, and the Americans were like beefing over some random islands in Washington, and Buchanan did not handle the crisis very well. It resolved itself semi-peacefully. I don't think anybody died. I think it was just just the pig for which the war is named.
The pig incident.
The pig
Yes,
incident.
the pig incident. But
I had a pig incident.
if you're familiar with
We won't talk about that, though.
if you're familiar with Oversimplified on YouTube,
Oh,
who
yeah.
does history videos,
I like his channel.
have you seen his video on the pig war then?
No,
Well,
probably not. I've seen a lot of his
Buchanan-
videos, though.
Buchanan makes an appearance as just like a whiny coward who doesn't want to be president, despite the fact that, you know, he was elected the president.
He ran for presidency and won. Who
Yeah,
was the other guy? If he's the guy who won, who was the other option?
I don't know. It
And
was
would he have been better?
I think this is during the time where there were still more than like two candidates in any given race. So you had like the Whigs, which were like the proto-Republicans, and then you had the Democrats, the Northern Democrats and the Southern Democrats, because they disagreed with each other. So like a Democrat from New York would have completely different like outlooks than a Democrat from Georgia.
Yeah.
So they would like run their own separate factional candidates to compete with the Whigs.
So what's stopping us from bringing back another party?
Wouldn't get any traction. You'd have to
RFK Jr. was the closest one
and he
ever, right? since lost
like Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
You'd have to get someone insanely popular. Like Trump would have to like go off and like he would have to go independent, and the Republicans would have to run somebody else to even have like a chance of a three-way election.
That would be insane if Trump went independent. Oh, that would have been kind of bomb. I mean, I'm
kind of disappointed that both RFK Jr. and Biden dropped out of the race, because I was looking forward to seeing a four-way race between like RFK and the Trump on one side, and then Harris and Biden on the other, all duking it out, stealing each other's votes. It was like the 1912 election all over again.
Did you see though the how he is now on? He'll be on Trump's cabinet.
Who, Biden?
RFK.
Oh, RFK.
I think Biden's dead, dude. I don't think Biden's still alive. Like, when was the last time you saw Biden or heard
Personally, I've never seen him in person.
When was the last time you saw him online at all? Heard anything about him? He's the sitting U.S. president. Ever since he like got COVID that weekend and resigned that same weekend with a signature that was not his own, it's like the next time we saw him, he came out, he was 5 inches taller than he normally is of his wife. It's like, was that Biden? Was that him? He's not exactly the same height, you know?
I feel like that's something they wouldn't overlook, you know? Like, if the first thing when you're choosing a body double is like the same height and the same weight, all the rest can be done later.
Does it matter though if people are just gonna be like, there he is, there's Biden, and they're not like, wait a minute?
Well, Biden's not like freakishly huge or small, so
true.
I don't think it would be too difficult to find somebody of his general build.
That's so true.
They wouldn't really have a reason to rush it out. So,
well, what about like, you would need somebody not just of his build, but of his mannerisms, of his voice, of his, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Probably. Otherwise, it's just a mask and a suit. You know, there you go.
Has Jeremy shown you The Prestige yet?
Sexton?
Yeah.
The Prestige.
The Prestige. It's
Jeremy
his favorite movie. He does like movie nights once a year where he gets everyone together at his place, and we all watch The Prestige.
Oh, cool.
And there's I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Okay.
There is a bit involving body doubles where one of the competing magicians goes and finds a guy to play him up on stage, and his rival comments that his double looks nothing like him and is completely mute. So,
have you ever seen like what the CIA is capable of? I mean, I guess you don't even need to. Have you seen what normal civilians are capable of when it comes to masks and makeup?
Yeah. Oh, for makeup. I thought you were talking about
masks
just what in
makeup.
general. Cause
yeah, in general.
In general, like the heart attack gun the CIA made.
What is that?
So it's like an air pistol, and you load it up with a dart that's made of ice with like pufferfish toxin on it, and you shoot somebody with it, and the only indicator that they'd ever been shot is like a small red mark, because the dart melts inside them and disperses the toxin throughout their bloodstream, and the official cause of death would always invariably be a heart attack.
That's awesome. Okay, guys, so when I have a heart attack after this podcast goes big, you know what happened.
Exactly.
Look for that small little red dot.
I would get like red dot pen, just kind of like boom, out of your chest.
Yeah. Tell Andrew to go search my body. He'll find it. What were we talking about?
What the CIA is capable of.
Oh, yeah. So the masks, basically, people are able to make masks that, like, they could just put on a mask with a little bit of makeup added onto it. You're big chillin'. Nobody can tell you who you are. Like, the mouth moves and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Have you not seen those? like super. I forget. There's a word for it. Like the type of plastic that they use, the type of rubber that they use.
Yeah, I've not seen anything like super in depth about it. I did see a Mythbusters episode years back where Adam and Jamie dressed up as each other with like a super complex mask and everything.
Did it look realistic?
Yeah, pretty convincing, and except for the fact that they couldn't mimic each other's voices, so they just didn't speak. And then they had like, so they like disguised themselves as each other, and then had random people come in and like do tests for them that involved getting steadily closer to where they were positioned. And all the like participants said that as they got closer, they could see that something was off, that their faces were like slightly too full.
Yeah. Now
And,
they both
yeah.
have different shaped heads, though, for sure. Along with, so like the CIA, though, their resources would be so great that they would be able to get somebody with like a similar shaped head, similar height, like you're saying, and even a similar voice, or at least train them in voice acting, I guess. I don't know. Being able to speak in another voice, right, or impersonate Biden. Like, all I'm saying is it wouldn't be that crazy. Guarantee you. Like, I don't care what president it is. Ever since TV happened, guarantee you, one of those times that they've been on TV, it was not them. Guarantee it, dude. There's no shot. What? I don't have like a. No, be afraid. No, I don't know.
Lack of reciprocated energy to that.
Yeah.
Insane. No one here was like, yeah.
Somebody listening was like, he's preaching right now, dude.
And somebody else listening was like, what is this guy saying? This guy's nuts.
I am nuts, dude. Anyways, how much do you think of the government is like put in place by God, and how much of it is not? Bro's chugging that down, dude. That was kind of. You should do that more.
Okay.
Keep going.
Here, I'm gonna drink water too.
Make that the thumbnail right there. Both of you drinking water.
There's a place called Chug Water, isn't there? Somewhere in like
Chug water?
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun
Look
name.
up-
Chum water. in
look-
Washington.
Chum water. Chum
Yeah.
water.
look up if Chug Water is an actual place.
Chug water.
I'm looking it out.
Whip it.
I looked into the Biden height thing.
Oh yeah.
That's actually crazy.
John just fact checked me, and it's a fact. I watched the
saw
video.
Specifically the scene that you're talking about.
Mm.
By the way, Chugwater, Wyoming.
Yeah, that's it.
Chug water, Wyoming.
Yeah.
Dude. That's where I retire. Chug water. Heck yeah.
Chugwater City in Antelope, California.
Antelope.
Chugwater Reservoir in Wyoming. That's
Chug
like
Water
that.
Reservoir.
Anyway. Shit. I looked at the photo. Jill is wearing like 2 to 3 inch heels,
Mm-hmm.
and she is like 6 inches, like the same height that she would have been if they were both flat on the ground.
Was Joe also wearing 6-inch heels?
Flat. So she was wearing 2 to 3 inch heels. Like Joe is clocked in at 6 feet.
Yeah.
Known fact. Jill is at 5'6", 6 inch height difference, right?
Okay.
Not 4, because inches are base 12, and I didn't realize that until a minute ago because I'm retarded. But they were standing next to each other. Jill, like at shoulder height,
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know, 6 enough. But she's wearing 2 to 3 inch heels, so she would be down here or something
Yeah.
without those heels on.
Yeah.
Which is way further than 6 inches.
So you're saying Joe Biden's shorter. I was saying he's 5 inches taller. Maybe I'm off.
You're not understanding at all of what I just said.
Okay.
I was saying the same thing as you. He was 5 inches taller.
Rad. So basically, is that Joe Biden? Because Joe Biden did not just grow 5 inches, bro. So who is that? You're a political science guy. Tell me. Yeah, you
Don't
know.
lie.
You're in the loop. You're in the political spectrum.
I knew you talked to Joe.
I'm on a spectrum. You're on a spectrum.
We're definitely on a spectrum.
Let's talk about how Joe Biden's 5 inches taller. And first of all, why did people not talk about that? That look up if that was the last time we saw him publicly. Because all I'm saying is that's the last time I've heard of him. And I'm like, he's probably dead. He's dead. And you know why? There's incentive to hide his death.
Yes.
Yes. Because then Kamala would be president. And then all of a sudden she would like have the backlash. It would hurt her campaign. Because everybody would blame her for everything rather than Biden. Biden's kind of the fall guy right now. Not only that, but if Kamala... I'm assuming that's how it works. If Kamala then, even at the end of a term like this, would that then ruin her chances to rerun if...
Yeah.
Yeah, that would count as one of her terms.
If Biden dies...
Be croaked.
With like 2 months... 2 months if Biden dies with like 2 months left in the term and Kamala has to take over, then she wins the election, then she's done. She's already a lame duck. She can't run again.
Crazy. What? Oh, you want to say out of the camera?
Wow. Brad cameo.
Brad's bass.
Joe Biden.
How do you feel about the Mormons?
A lot of my friends in middle school and high school were Mormon.
Yeah, same.
Because they were like, they were the good kids, you know, the ones who wouldn't smoke weed in the practice rooms.
Yep.
So
true.
Yeah.
Was your band room... Okay, the Post Falls High School band room, it was known as like... So there was like a big room, and then there was little rooms. I guess they were called practice rooms. I don't know what they were called. But they had doors that locked on the inside. And the band teacher put up curtains on the inside as well for like the one window that was in there. And it was just concrete walls around. So kids would go in there because the band room was only filled like half the day. So people would go in there and they would have fun. Yeah.
That's what
Bang around in the Post Falls High School band rooms.
That's what I was.
There's like couches in there and everything.
Couches?
They set it up. It's like, I don't know. They were perfectly designed for high schoolers to fool around.
We had like 4 or 5 rooms, and each one had like a piano and 3 chairs. They didn't even have stands in them. You had to like go into the main band room if you wanted to stand. And then there was also the music storage room, which had not only all the instruments and like shelves of old music, but there were also these like absolutely ancient props from past marching shows and like trophies from all these events decades ago. And there were like a few secluded corners in the instrument storage room.
You ever mess with them? Or look through them or even like play with them?
What, the instruments?
Just like all the old relics.
No.
Like what do you do with them?
They were up on very high shelves, like a 15-foot shelf.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
That's
massive storage room.
Yeah, that's where
Big
they kept
warehouses.
all the old trophies. And then there were the offices, and then the outside, and then the orchestra room next door.
I guess that makes sense that Boise would have a lot of trophies. I don't know how many Post Falls High School has, but it's definitely less. Like the history does not go back.
Well, none of these trophies were recent.
That's true.
Uh,
Look up when Post Falls High School was a thing. John.
Really putting John through his paces today.
Yeah, I'm really making him work.
He should ask for a raise.
He is unhired, or what? Not unhired. Unhired, dude. Yeah, he is unpaid. That's what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
Support the podcast. Go on to Patreon. Eventually, I'll get episodes out there.
Yeah. Oh, right. I totally forgot.
Yeah. That's actually crazy. But support us so that I could pay John. So RFK is going to be on Trump's cabinet. You said that you didn't know about that. They made a speech and like announcing it and stuff at some Trump rally where basically RFK was going to come on and join his team as like the food health guy and like the environment guy, I think.
What, like head of the EPA or something?
Well, because RFK spent a lot of his youth years cleaning up like the Colorado River or something like that. Along with I know for sure at least he's being put in charge of the food. In the sense of like leading food safety and what we're putting in our food, because he's talked about a lot of the preservatives and seed oils and stuff that causes a lot of the there's a specific term for it. I don't know, for the lack of a better term, disease.
Yeah.
Obesity, stuff like that, cardiac problems, all the fun stuff that puts people in the hospital, and yeah. So just, eating healthier. You are what you eat. If you eat poison, you're gonna be poisoned. Go.
1912.
1912 is when Post Falls High School happened.
Yep.
Crazy, dude.
That's older than my high school. My high school was founded in like 65 or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. I guess Post Falls would have only ever had one. We need two now, but we had.
The current campus opened 24 years ago, so.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
establishment was in 1912, but.
The Post Falls Middle School now is what the high school was, which is why it sucks. Look up the Post Falls Middle. Oh, well, I guess it would have been 1912 probably. That was probably the building they used for that. If the building looks aged, it feels aged. It's a trash little school, dude. Middle school was. How was middle school for you?
The building was absolutely ancient. So there's like two different categories of school in Boise. There's like the newer cookie cutter, like brick building, 2 stories, very predictable layout. And then there's the old stuff that was built in like the mid
1800s.
I wouldn't go that far. It was like mid 20th
Okay.
century. So
Yeah.
like any time from like 1945 to like the turn of the millennium, all these ancient, unrenovated buildings. My middle school was one of those. It was a very weird split level where the library, cafeteria, both gyms, the music rooms, and like 3 classrooms were like 8 feet lower than the entire rest of the school.
Oh, whoa.
And then like the year after I went on to high school, they started renovating it where they built like a new gym and a new library and a new cafeteria in a separate building.
Yeah.
Where they used to just have this big empty field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they might have renovated the inside of the main building. But there's also an elementary school in my neighborhood, like 2-minute walk from my house, that was in that same category of very old. And they were also like at the same time going to renovate it. So they had like just started construction for the summer, and then the entire building burns down. Like it just catches fire and just turns to ash. So they have to build an entirely new school building on top of the ashes of what used to be Valley View Elementary School.
I wish my school burned down, but it was all stone.
And I like taken driver's ed in this building like the previous year, and you could tell it smelled old too, and very flammable.
It's probably got asbestos all up in there. Good stuff.
I can only imagine all the toxins that were released into the atmosphere when it caught fire.
Postal High, like the shenanigans of school, I kind of miss it, dude. It's fun. Like we put a carrot. Postal High School, there's a huge trophy case in like the front, right in the front door kind of thing. We put like one of those little baby carrots that you get in lunches. It was like a wood trim, I guess, that kind of outlined the trophy case. So there was like a little ledge with the wood part. And we just put a carrot on there, and it was there all year. We watched as that thing rotted.
Nice.
It was awesome. Such a fun school, dude.
Cool.
Yeah.
Middle school shenanigans.
Well, middle school shenanigans were even worse. I know a kid who got locked in a locker. I was there when it happened. I was passing by, all right? Don't accuse me of such tomfoolery. But middle school was awful. I hated middle school. Did you like middle school?
I mean, the first year was kind of lonely because I didn't know anybody, but once I made friends, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I hated my friends. By the time like freshman year came around, I said, I didn't say anything. I just stopped hanging out with them. And then so I was lonely freshman year. Sophomore year of high school, though, made some good friends. I'm still friends with them to this day. I don't really hang out with them too much anymore, but, I consider them friends.
Yeah.
Damn.
John's got it.
Didn't need to go silent over there.
Yeah, you're right.
We didn't want to
I was
interrupt your...
intrigued. I was. Yeah.
Whoa.
Ooh, I hit the mic. Anyways, what were we talking about? Middle school?
Yeah, middle school shenanigans.
Okay, see, my middle school was so bad. It had a rule. Have I told you about this?
I don't think so.
Okay. What do you think the rule hands up means?
Is it something that your teachers would shout to get you to pay attention?
Maybe, I don't remember if it was hands up. That feels wrong, but it gets the same point across. No, it was during lunch. So a kid was caught underneath the table.
Oh.
Having fun with himself. So the duties then would come around every now and again and kind of, they would just like stand there and be like, hands up. And you just have to put your hands up. It was just kind of a routine thing that they did to scare, I'm assuming, the one kid who did it into not doing it again. So the rest of us had to suffer. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of you couldn't jork it under
The rest of us lost the opportunity, bro.
Dude was too busy.
Had to ruin it for everyone else.
Come on, dude.
We were all really good at
I hate people like that, dude. Just ruining my fun. Yeah, middle school was awful. I learned that I really liked girls. That was kind of sucked because I didn't talk to a single one all 3 years. It was pretty fun, dude.
Cool.
Yeah.
Were there fights at your middle school?
Yeah, and I missed every single one. Well, except for, I don't know if I should say their names or not. Their first names are probably fine. Everybody who goes to that middle school knows about it. Blaine ended up moving away after he punched Keaton, and Keaton fell to the ground and had a brain bleed and almost died. So that was cool. That was outside that was on the basketball court. I saw the video of that, so I did see that one. Most of the fights, though, would happen after I turned a corner or I was walking to the corner, and then as soon as I turned the corner, I see the teacher breaking it up. So the first fight I ever saw was the end of freshman year of high school, where some kids started fighting out in the bus loop. You know, I was getting on a bus to go home, and I watch as the principal sprints past me, and I turn around to see what's going on. There's two kids wailing on each other. That was pretty cool.
In like a fighting way or a sexual way?
Very fighting way, yeah. There was fists going around. It was a very pathetic fight, in my opinion. Both of them they did not know what they were doing, but it was entertaining for me to watch, especially to go home with that for like the last day of school. That was my last experience there, freshman year of high school. Awesome. What a way to tie, just perfect ribbon to the rest of the year.
I only ever witnessed one fight. It was like early morning before classes started. The band instructor was sick, so there was no jazz band, but I still just woke up at the regular time and went in. So I just sat in the cafeteria for like an hour before class, and then without warning, these two random girls like immediately behind me just start like slapping each other. And
Let's
then
go, cat fight.
some random teacher just marches in and like drags them off of each other. I don't think there was a winner because it lasted like all of 15 seconds.
Was there blood?
No, there was no blood.
Weak fight. Pathetic. Not just kidding. Yeah, middle school. I knew a lot of people who got in fights. My boy Gabe Woodard, shout out to him. He was supposed to be on the podcast, but I don't think, what happened to the
audio?
Yeah, the audio messed up because of some setting. So he'll come on eventually, but he got in fights a lot because he was a hockey player. So he would fight on the rink. It's really fun to talk to him. What a sexy beast that man is. Anyways.
How many teeth is he missing?
None, dude. He's a handsome looker, bro. He knows what, he wins. That's what, he knows what he's doing.
Impressive.
It's super cool, yeah. Oh, man, I miss him. I should call him. Anyways.
I should call him.
The Post Falls High School, you could look it up, John, if you want. Only if you want. This is a fun one. If you go to like Google Maps, Google whatever, if you zoom in on the bus loop for Post Falls High School, it says the Jimmy Neutron Loop.
Jimmy Neutron?
Yeah. I don't know how or why it's named that, but it's called the Jimmy Neutron Loop.
Interesting.
Any fun facts about your high school or middle school?
Yes. So originally, our high school was only a single story back when it was first built, but around sometime afterwards, I do not know when this took place, they added a second floor to it. And the way they did this, according to what I've heard, I don't know if this is actually true. What they did was they basically just tacked on a second story and built stairwells So like the second story isn't like secured to the foundations except through the stairwells and like a few pillars, I think. So they just like placed it on top of the old roof, and there's spots where you can like see between the second story and the roof of the first floor.
Why?
I don't know.
I
Maybe,
guess it's
maybe it was
cost-effective?
doing it cheaply.
Crazy, dude. Because if there's asbestos in that roof, come on, guys. Come on. Like, how much more? I mean, how hard is it?
I don't know. I'm not a construction worker.
I'm not either. I mean, maybe they do that more than I think.
Oh, it is called the Jimmy Neutron loop.
Yeah, dude.
I've discovered everything. Jimmy Neutron.
Neutron?
Neutron? Is it spelled wrong?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know who did that or how, but
Ron.
interesting.
Neutron.
Maybe Jimmy Neutron is actually someone.
look up Jimmy Neutron.
This is a good rabbit hole.
Yeah, Postal High School. It's fun, dude.
Did you ever watch Jimmy Neutron as a kid?
Yeah. Yeah, Jimmy Neutron's best.
I remember
What?
we only had by the time we got access to cable TV, Jimmy Neutron had basically finished airing. So all we had was one Jimmy Neutron movie. I don't know if you've seen it. It's the one where like all their parents get kidnapped by the egg people, and
Yeah.
they like weaponize the theme park rides
That's
into
your
spaceships.
only experience with Jimmy Neutron?
Yeah, that's the only Jimmy Neutron thing that I've ever seen.
I highly recommend it. I mean, I don't know if I'd enjoy it now as an adult. Maybe I would. Maybe it'd be fun to go back and watch Jimmy Neutron. Carl would probably be even more funny.
I ended up on iFunny.
That's an insane rabbit hole.
Thomas meets Jimmy. No, like this crossover. No. There's like nothing.
I don't think iFunny is going to tell you about the secrets
No,
of
I
the
looked
Post
up
Falls.
Jimmy Neutron on Post Falls High School.
And it took you to iFunny?
Yeah, the first thing is this is what my bus loop is called. Jimmy Neutron loop. Post Falls High School.
Insane, dude.
I don't get it.
Post Falls High School is full of iFunniers. Excuse me.
The future is doomed.
The future is
There's
iFunny.
only one page. I reached the end. of
Love is iFunny. Life is iFunny.
I sure hope not.
Have you ever iFunnied?
Once upon a time, I did.
Oh, yeah?
Like from like second year of middle school up to like
Back in the
think it was
glory
like
days, dude.
my junior year of high school. It was like 4 years or something,
Heck to the yeah.
and then I abandoned it.
I did iFunny back when, too. Back when it was good. Now it's just kind of sad, honestly.
I need to get the Google Maps app now because there are 4 reviews of the Jimmy Neutron loop.
4 Google reviews.
Yeah, dude.
If you look up certain ATF offices on Google reviews, they won't be classified as government offices. Like some of them will be classified as like a pet wellness center or a gay bar or a gay nightclub.
Oh.
So you're just like ATF Oklahoma gay nightclub.
What is ATF?
The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. The government agency that
crazy.
shoots your dog.
Wait.
Oh, rad.
Boom.
I can't read that from here.
Yo, what is that? Show them the camera.
It says defund the ATF.
Oh, crazy.
Let me
What a niche and obscure. All right.
can't see that at all. It's Joe.
Was it all blurry? Out of focus?
It was just black because there's no light on it.
Oh.
Whatever. It's not that obscure. ATF rocks.
TGIF.
Thank God it's Thursday.
No, thank God I'm female.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Or TGIM.
Thank God it's Monday.
Thank God I'm male, dude. Come on.
Hmm.
TGIAM.
Okay.
Thank God I am a man.
Crazy.
TGIAEWXY.
Go on. What does that mean? Ligma shield.
PLRQST.
Nobody
T.
uses Ligma
A.
shield. Why, dude? That's my thing.
I learned from the best, bro.
There's 4 reviews.
Do you know any good Ligmas?
Oh.
I feel afraid.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Oh, you don't know what a Ligma is? Like-
Are you asking me for a
Oh, wait a
joke,
minute.
or
Ask
are
me
you
what
prompting
Ligma
me
is
to
right
say, can you believe that Steve Jobs died of Ligma?
What's Ligma?
No,
I should've said
you're
who's Steve Jobs.
You're supposed
Yeah.
to say who's Steve Jobs. You messed it up.
Who's Steve Jobs, dude?
Ligma balls, and that's when you just disintegrate.
Yeah.
Boom.
You have to edit that now.
Yeah.
No
you
way,
have
dude.
to
I'm
do
not
that
doing
now.
that.
So
That'd be like 30 minutes worth of editing.
It got a 4.8 stars.
Jimmy,
Respectable.
A bus? Dude.
The Nuetron Loop.
I've-
There's only one written review from Colton Lundwall, who wrote, "Huge fan."
Huge fan.
The Jimmy. Let me give some lore on the Jimmy Neutron loop since I used it for 2 years till I got my license. Basically, it's super cool. A bus one year that I was going there, and a bus. It gets super snowy in the winter and slippery. A bus took the turn a little bit too hard, and it ended up tipping over into the gigantic pit in the middle. So it's literally just a loop, a road with like one exit, and it loops. And in the middle of that, it's a gigantic grass well. And so the bus trying to take the turn turned a little too steeply or something, and he ended up flipped over in the middle of the grass well. You could pull up the news article if you want.
How long did it take him to dislodge the bus, or is it still there?
Oh, it's gone. Yeah, they somehow removed it. I don't know.
It becomes a permanent fixture.
At that time, I was no longer riding the buses, so it wasn't my problem.
Sorry, what was the, what am I looking at?
You don't have to look that up. Unless you want to. The Jimmy Neutron loop, a bus did fall into it while I was in school.
It's like a pit?
Yeah, there's a huge grass well in the middle of the loop.
I'm not going to find that anywhere.
You could. It would be on like news articles. Look up Post Falls High School bus fell in bus loop.
Okay.
What else am I? I'm paying you, dude. I'm paying you.
No, you're not.
I'm paying you 0. Oh. Anyways, what are we talking about, Andrew?
According to
Okay.
I don't know
I'll
what we're
figure
talking
it
about.
So you're a memer.
Oh,
What?
do you want to hear about it?
Yeah.
According to available information, a school bus slid into a swale,
Swale?
ditch, or depression at Post Falls High School's bus stop. The incident occurred due to the bus loop not being plowed, making the curb indistinguishable. This resulted in the bus driver losing this. This is a lame story.
It's an awesome story. A bus fell into a gigantic thing with kids in it. It was awesome.
Okay.
Dude, I have more stories from bus stuff. Okay, so my boy Jim, okay?
Bus stuff.
Yeah, I'm into bus stuff. The basically, okay, so elementary school. I had this crazy bus driver. I really liked him because I was a little let's just say I was like a good kid, if that makes sense, right? I was not a rebellious one. I was not sorry for hitting the mic. I was not I was scared of the rambunctious kids, okay?
Yeah.
So my boy Jim, he was so cool. He was like the most ornery old man that you would ever know. I like sat right behind him for first, second grade kind of thing. Third grade came around, I started moving back in the bus. The further back in the bus, the more crazy you get, right? I remember my bus being insane, which is absolutely insane. Jim had full rights, in my opinion, especially at the time, to be as ornery as he was. Except for this one thing that really I did not like. Except I was a fan of him still. He like pulled the bus over, grabbed a football that some kid was like messing with, and threw it away. He like grabbed the football, walks back up to the front of the bus, throws it in the garbage can, and then continues the drive.
Crazy.
Based old man driver driving my bus around. He hated his job, I'm sure, but I loved him. And then he ended up actually during middle school. He was no longer my bus driver, unfortunately, because I no longer lived in the area. But my friends who lived in the area still had him as his bus driver. And he ended up needing to retire because I think he passed out on the wheel while driving all of them home. Post Falls Middle School, my middle schooler friends, they were describing it to me. I don't remember exactly how it went. I might be switching it up with another story where he kind of like was taking his meds more than he should be, kind of thing. But either way, he ended up passing out at the wheel. I think ran into a telephone pole, and they had to wait for another bus driver to, come and get all the kids, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of rad. Shout out to Jim. I kind of miss him. He was kind of chill and super based.
Mm-hmm.
Based enough that he would just fall asleep.
Yeah.
on a bus.
It was awesome.
I hate
Takes a real man to fall asleep behind the wheel.
He was like, I don't care what anybody says. I'm a fan of him. So Jim, if you're listening to this, I love you. He's probably dead now.
You called me a memer before.
Oh yeah,
talking
you're a
about
memer,
Jim.
right?
I have dabbled.
Well, describe meme. How does meme culture correlate to the political sphere?
I don't know.
biblical.
Let's make it. How does memes increase or help or not help your relationship with Jesus?
Well, there was a man whose name I'm forgetting at the moment who said that memes are the DNA of the soul. So they're the truest reflection of our subconscious. Insane.
For the people listening right now, it's like, this is absolute nonsense, but I'm having fun, so I hope they're having fun. Is that how that works?
Yes.
I feel like it doesn't always. Anyways, sorry, I'll stop trying to psychoanalyze myself.
Dude, psychoanalyzing nothing right now.
Say that again and you're fired.
What's this?
Don't. Oh, the gun?
threatening
Don't.
to
You know
finger
what? Don't question, all right? Let's not
You've
look
got
into
a
this.
more-
Let's not look into this.
Okay.
More sophisticated tool.
Yeah, you've got a better tool for the job.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think I should pull that out because I'm a bad gun owner.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I am here in equal parts to appear here and to teach you how to not kill people.
So true. I'm really bad at not killing people. Hasn't happened yet, but the chances are pretty high. Anyways, have you ever killed somebody?
No.
Do you think you would find it difficult to?
Under certain circumstances, yes. I feel like what would be more difficult is the aftermath. Because, yeah, in the...
After math class.
Yeah, it's so difficult to clean up after you shoot somebody in the face. The blood gets everywhere.
Gosh, such a problem.
But, in the heat
Then
of
they
the...
get it on me, and I'm like, oh no, do I have AIDS?
In the heat of the moment, I would imagine that swinging a knife or pulling a trigger wouldn't be too taxing, but the realization afterwards that you just killed somebody is probably very mentally jarring.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about it. Brad and I, we were actually talking about it on our walk home.
Talking about killing people?
No, rather just death in general, of how it would feel for us to have a loved one die.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very blessed to have very little loss in my life. And the losses that I have had have been significant, but not in a way that makes me sad necessarily. I lost my grandpa when I was super young, but I didn't really know him too well. There's a few other figures in my life that just kind of were there. And I enjoyed their presence when they were around, but they never, it's would I want to have another conversation with them? Yes. But when they died, it's I didn't cry, And Brad and I were kind of talking about it. Then we brought it to our moms, and I'm like, I feel like I would be absolutely distraught if my mom died. But then thinking about it more, it's I know where she is. I don't know how I would actually respond to it. Because my only experiences so far with loss has been pretty dry. But I've never lost somebody uber significant in my life, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So I don't know how I will ultimately respond to it.
Crazy.
What do you think about that?
I mean...
Now, riff on that.
Yeah, yeah. Now talk. Your
I
turn,
feel like
dude.
the most significant loss I've ever experienced, it was senior year of high school. The dog that I grew up with died.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it was
I died junior year.
just because I was there with her and I held her in my arms as she passed away, that it hit me so hard, but like I was absolutely floored. Like after we got home from the vet, I just went to bed and cried myself to sleep. I didn't go to school the next day. I was devastated.
So true.
After losing this dog.
When I lost I was thinking people.
I haven't lost any people that I care too strongly about, or at least not while I've been, old enough to comprehend what that means.
Right, yeah. Like I lost my dog Max back junior high school, I think. So childhood dog, like you probably grew up with him. Definitely sobbed for an hour, maybe, if even. Then it was more like I would just like kind of choke up every now and again, but I didn't go to school that day. But it's like that was kind of it. Ever since then, I still miss that dog, just like I miss some of the other people that have passed on, but it's not something that I'm going to be ruined over.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It's an inevitability that we're going to care about people and then we're going to lose them at some point. But
I mean, every old person you've ever met, their parents aren't alive anymore. Some of their closest, everybody, they've lost. Every single one has lost many, many close people to their lives. Wow, that's a crazy thought. I don't like that. Maybe I do like that. I don't know. That makes me feel weird.
Well,
because I've never thought about it.
I think
I'm gonna go goth now.
Think about
death on the daily.
Think about the fact that you bother crying over them in the first place means that you did care about them, and you're distraught that you won't, see them anytime soon.
I would argue that even if you don't cry, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't care about them. The same way, if you don't cry on like your wedding day, that doesn't mean that your commitment to your wife and your love for your wife is not any less.
Well, process things differently, but not so much crying as like feeling loss. Or experiencing loss means that there had to have been something there for you to lose. So at times it can remind you that you are capable of caring about people, or people are capable of caring about you. Because like if you care this much about somebody, then it's almost certain that somebody else cares that much about you.
Yeah. That's a weird thought too. I don't want to think. That's not my problem if I die.
Yeah.
That's a selfish way of looking at it though. I'm going to get some water. You want some water?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to tell you the remix version never before heard by human ears. So, I was raised in a Christian household to a degree. Like,
amen.
Yeah, my
That's
parents
how it tends to go.
Read the Bible, I assume. They prayed with us every night before bed. We went to church on Sundays. And then when I was like 3 or 4 or something, my parents got divorced, split houses, and
nice.
At a certain point, we just stopped going to church, stopped actually worrying about our faith and whatnot. There was a brief period in like junior high school where
sorry, hold on, I broke this.
You broke it. Where we would go to our church's youth group, which was where all the
keep going.
All the like
youth group.
All the 10 to 18-year-olds would get together on a Wednesday night and eat pizza and read scripture and do other things.
Yeah.
Like that one time we had a Nerf war, and that was pretty fun.
That's pretty sick.
And
Nerf wars are the best, dude.
And then we didn't even age out of it. We just stopped going to that too. So we got to a point where like we were just like Christian in name only.
Yeah.
And then by the time I graduated and was going off to college, my dad wasn't even Christian anymore. Nor was my brother, I don't think. I don't know much about my brother's faith. But one piece of advice my dad did give me was that in any capacity, whatever, to explore spirituality in some form or another. And so freshman year at U of I, there's this thing that they do every year called Palooza Fest, where all the clubs and organizations line up and down on the street and try to advertise themselves to all the freshmen. And this random lady approached me. He's like, "Hey, do you want an Otter Pop?" So I was like, "Hey, sure, I'll take an Otter Pop." And then she tells me just like, "Oh, tell me about your faith." And so I repeat basically the Cliff Notes version of what I've said so far and the piece of advice that my dad gave me. And then she's like, "Oh, well, we're a part of a local campus ministry called Chi Alpha, and we're doing a get-together thing on Thursday at some time or whatever." And so she gave me, in addition to the Otter Pop, I got a bag of popcorn and a plastic cup that I still have.
Rad.
I use it to fill my Brita because the sink's too shallow to set it down in. And so that woman's name, Jessica Seberg.
Shout out.
So I went to the Alf group at the Seberg's house, and then started going to Wednesday night, joined a life group, and then got plugged in, and here I am, 3 years. Hang on.
What do you think led
3
you
years
to
later.
that?
Definitely, it seemed, I mean, what my dad said, to just explore my faith in some way, definitely was part of it. But also...
And he said that when he wasn't a believer anymore?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's also a certain aspect of either being like a chance encounter or destiny ordained by the Lord, so to speak, that I ran into Jessica at Palooza Fest and actually showed up to the whatever meeting that was on Thursday and met with Derek and all their kids. And kept coming back to Alpha and Wednesday night. So, yeah.
Cool, dude. Like, I'm trying to come up with a question because, like, I have curiosities of how, like, where's your dad at with it? Why do you think your dad valued it enough to say that to you if he no longer believed? Because if he no longer believed, why would he see any value in it whatsoever?
That is an excellent question for him.
Let's get him on.
Yeah. Hey, Dad, you're willing to drive 6 hours and 300 miles with notice of like 5 minutes to appear on some rando's podcast? Yeah, let's get him out here.
Yeah, let's do it.
On a serious note.
Okay.
My dad's a great dad, I think, but from what he says, his dad was not a great dad. And
do you know your grandpa?
Well, he's dead now, but I had
shout out
met
to
him.
the underworld.
Yeah, shout out dead grandpa. I had met him, and I did know him while he was still alive, but he was like super old. And from what my dad says, he would use God and Jesus as justification to like run a very strict and abusive household.
Yeah.
And so that's
kind of
stuck with my dad and put him off from.
Definitely relatable.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in a very legalistic household. And, you know, everything, you know, because I always fell short, because I'm human, you know, it just kind of just shame and guilt all day long, every day.
I could also imagine there's something to that where since my dad didn't have that kind of freedom when he was growing up, he wants to make sure that I have that kind of freedom and know that I have that kind of freedom. So whereas he was siloed into like, you're going to get up, you're going to do what I say, we're going to church now, don't cry about it or you're getting hit with a belt. I can imagine that he wanted to make sure that like whatever I wanted to do faith-wise, that I knew that I had the freedom and the
absolutely.
capability to go out and do it,
Mhm.
to explore things on my own terms, to find the truth myself without anybody telling me this is the way. If you disagree, you're wrong.
So why do you think you landed on Christ as truth?
I think it definitely has to do with early childhood. Like this, even though we didn't go to church continuously for many years of my childhood, I still do remember all the times where we were plugged into the church. And it was a huge part of when I was like a toddler. We would have like Veggie Tales and read Bible stories before bed and whatnot, to the point where I just couldn't really foresee there being any other way out there, you know? Even though we weren't very active in faith for many years, I still did believe that Christ was real and was our Savior. Lived and died for us so that through him we may be redeemed.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Just without all the like logistical and scripture knowledge that I have now. So
Rad. Historically speaking, because I know you're a huge history guy, armchair
Yes.
historian.
Sure.
What?
There's connotations to that.
Oh, really?
Like, you've heard the term armchair general?
No.
A guy who sits in a chair and gives out strategic advice, having never seen the battlefield himself. So it's not as serious with armchair historian, but because like there is a guy on YouTube who does history videos called Armchair Historian.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it's anything like Armchair General, then it probably means like some guy who just like sits and reads about history without actually going to experience it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm spouting absolute nonsense right now, but
No, it makes
yes,
sense.
I am interested in history.
I've always thought of it as a just like a casual historian.
Sure.
Yeah, but like you do it from your own armchair kind of thing. But that makes sense. How much historical backing do you think there is to the Bible? Have you looked into it as a historian, or are you all just about the Crusades?
Mostly about either World War II or the American Civil War. That's where the majority of my studies have lain. As far as the New Testament goes, there's a lot of historical evidence that of not only the disciples but of Christ himself, to a more limited extent, because the disciples were actual people who went out to locations to preach the gospel, and they like left their mark. As far as the Old Testament goes, it's a bit more dubious as far as historical findings, to the point where a lot of people just dismissed it as mythology to a point. There's definitely, but that's primarily for like Genesis, a little bit of Exodus, but like David, Solomon. Again, this is outside of my wheelhouse as a historian, but I imagine there's, if not concrete evidence, at least a very strong tradition suggesting that these were real people who did real things.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to go do the gun stuff?
Yeah, let's go do the gun stuff.
All right, cool. Then we're going to close up here.
Oh, shit.
This is Andrew Hursh, everybody.
Unless you want to do the gun stuff on camera.
Definitely not.
I feel like I'd be so embarrassed, honestly.
Uh-huh.
That'd be embarrassing.
Oh, I should totally get my guns. What are we doing? Never mind.
He's just going to teach me gun safety.
Oh,
Or not so much gun safety, I mean,
safe
probably
handling.
probably
techniques,
more
you
about
know?
like actually using it
Sure.
without the shooting part,
Mm-hmm.
Handling it.
Yes.
handling it.
Okay.
Because I need to learn. So this is Andrew Hursh, everybody. Say goodbye. But what's any final remarks?
You're going.
I was unprepared to give final remarks. Go follow me on social media. I do not have any, so just complain to nobody in particular that I only exist in real life and not on X and Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah,
So
follow me instead.
follow me on none of my social media, which I don't have. Subscribe to this channel that you're watching right now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Rad. All right, cool. That's it then.
What's up, guys?
Subscribe.
Yes.
Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you really enjoyed. I know we had a fun time making it. Please, if you really want to support us on Patreon, you will be getting the episodes a week ahead of time. So it's definitely worthwhile, or not. Just support us, just support us, please.
We need money. You guys can find us on all the podcast platforms, hopefully, by this point.
You will.
You will.
You will.
So Spotify, Apple,
All of them.
I guess YouTube, but not really,
And YouTube.
And YouTube. So find us there. Enjoy it. And if you don't, I will find you.
He found me.
Yeah.
I don't-
Amen. All right.
I think that's kind of it.
Shit. Okay.
All right. Off to Denny's.
That's a damn good. Yeah.
I love you, Joe.
I love you, Joe.